Hi folks, welcome back to another Battle Report. This time I finally got my club into playing some more time, and I'm going to be starting out with my Bretonnian army. The first game is up against an Ogre Warband, so that's pretty brutal. What I'm just going to quickly go over, or timely go over, is just a bit about more time, the game itself, and the rules that we're using, and where you might be able to find the information also to play this game. So Mordheim itself is a game that came out in '99, and it was really to make a mockery of the Millennium world-ending bug and everything else. So basically, it's set in the year 1999 in the world of the old Warhammer world, and a meteor comes down, the Great Twin-Tailed Comet, and it lands in Ostmark and destroy Ostermark, Ostermark, not Ostland. Yeah, Ostermark destroys the city of Mordheim. Basically, it's inside this meteor is a load of warp stone. This is called Weird Stone, and it breaks up, and there's shards of it corrupting everything. And but everyone's after this weird stone. It's worth money for crazy scientists and wizards and stuff like this. So everyone starts flocking to this ruined city, which has got a bloody great crater in it and stuff, and fighting to try and make some money. So this is one of the first games that got me really into the role-play side of a game, and since then I've played it. It's like 20 years old now, and I've always played it, and always had a lot of fun with it. It's not the most balanced rule set there is. Some of the warbands and that are just become ridiculous, but if you're just going to enjoy yourself, got a good group of friends to play in, it is good fun. So yeah, the warbands and the rules and that, if you check out I've only recently found this out, it's broheim.net, because these are all out of print and stuff, and Games Workshop had the rule books available to download for free. They're all on there, but not only that, they've put a lot of the other warbands that have been fan made and stuff into it, and given them a scoring system as well to how good they are and how well tested they've been. At the club, I think we're limiting to most of ours as being in a one category. That's probably the best ones it is, which is pretty much they're kind of like the official kind of lists. I don't know if the Ogres was. They might have been. I don't know if they've got to a 2, but we're definitely staying well way away from the 3s and stuff. But I'm pretty sure. I think the Ogres are like a 1C, so that should be fine. So yeah, the settings is everyone's got a warband. I think pretty much everyone's got an available warband now. The original book that came out with had Witch Hunters, Human Mercenaries, Sisters of Sigma, Skaven, Possessed. That's 5. I feel like it should be 6. But yeah, they're a lot of character in all of them, and the miniatures. Although the originals are quite hard to find and sometimes quite expensive, you can use pretty much anything. I mean, you can use a lot of the Mon stuff. I've seen some of the new, what do you call it? Shadespire, is it? Some of their miniatures. Some of their, I think it's Shadespire. They had some nice Skaven miniatures in it. Some of them have been used, and that's all cool. I mean, this is an outdated game that's no longer supported, so use whatever you like. But the game itself, as I say, it's a small warband. Looking at about 15 models, 20 tops if you're Night Goblins, or I think Skaven might actually get to a 20. But yeah, that's all you're looking at, and everyone kind of gains experience as well. So you've got 2 types of troop. You've basically got your heroes. These are kind of your named guys, and they individually gain experience and get better. And then you've got your henchmen, which are formed into like warband groups. In the actual game, on the field themselves, they all fight individually, but they gain experience together as one group, which can be really useful. So if you've got like a group of 3 henchmen, say they're all swordsmen or something, if at the end of the game 2 of them are taking that action, 1 survives, they all get the experience for surviving. So it makes henchmen quite useful, but there's only so many experience points they'll eventually gain. Basically, yeah, so surviving in games, you gain experience, your troops get better. Also, if you die in games, there's the risk of dying permanently, which I'm just a genius at rolling. I mean, I don't try, honest, but I'm bloody good at doing it. So I've got my fingers crossed here that my questing night will last throughout, but I haven't got high hopes. So yeah, you can gain experience and you can convert your models how you like. I mean, if you lose a leg, you know, put the peg leg on, that kind of thing. Not everyone goes that detailed. I don't, but it is just such a great little game, and it is really good fun. If you've got 6 mates, all wanted to do just an easy campaign, and if you look at the Ogre Warband, it's starting with 4 models. You know, there's not a lot involved in that, and the gameplay itself, it's akin to Warhammer, I'd say 6th edition Skirmish. It actually came out before Warhammer 6th edition, so you're looking at probably 5th edition really, especially some of the early army choices and stuff and how things work. But yeah, it is a great little game, and I'm really looking forward to getting into it. So the next bit I just want to tell you about is my warband. I've actually gone for a Bretonnian warband. It's in, I think it's Town Crier 8. I've managed to pick up the Town Crier. Also, another one for you who've got phones that are not iPhones. Sorry, I'm not great with technology, but basically someone has put the effort in to make a Mordheim roster sheet. Hasn't got all the warbands in, but all the definite starting ones are all in there. All the official ones, shall we say, are all in there. Makes life a bit easier, less on the paperwork, and I'm still learning how to use it. It's pretty basic, but I'm enjoying it, and it's getting me getting me on so far so good. That's right, I'm just going to bring it up now, so I've got my characters now. So my warband, as you see from the front cover when you first hit, the intro, that was my starting warband. Less an archer. I started out with an extra archer for some reason. I don't know why I worked it out wrong, but I thought I had 2 archers. I was really hoping for a bigger henchman group. My warband is really quite small. I mean, these games only last 40 minutes tops, simply because once you've lost 25% of your men, you need to take a route test, which is basically a leadership test, which is 2 dice equal under your leadership. Most is about 8 or 7. If you fail it, you leave and the game's over and the opponent wins. So as you can imagine, you don't have to take a lot of damage before you start running away. So the games tend to be quite quick, which is great, especially for an evening as well. You can get quite a few games in. I managed to get 2 in this evening. I've got this one against the Ogres, and then I've got another one against Chaos. I think they're called Chaos Marauders, which is a really nicely done list as well. So yeah, hopefully that roughly explains kind of what I'm doing, and I hope you enjoy it, and we'll get into it and start looking at the warbands. So this is my opponent's starting warband. Sorry about the dude at the front, it's out of focus. I'm a bit too close on this shot, but I don't want to get all the background in it. So basically on the left hand side, the guy with the big ass sword, that's his Ogre Chieftain, I think it is. The guy on the right hand side, that's his Ogre Hunter, who's got an Ogre Club, and the Chieftain's got he's got a sword and Iron Fist. And in the background are the 2 Ogre Youngbloods, which are basically ogres with, I think, yes, strength 3, and I think it's something like 2 wounds instead of the, they might all have 2 wounds, and 2 attacks. But yeah, they basically start weapon skill lower, strength lower, I believe. So it's basically just allows you to get some cheap troops in. And also all these guys are heroes, and obviously the Youngbloods actually start with like 0 experience, which is really important in this game, because at 0 experience, you're basically your first 3 experience upgrades you'll get will be after every 2 experience points, which is quite nice, because the more experience you gain, the more experience you have to gain it. So it goes from like every 2, then every 3, every 4, as you go on. I think it's like I think it's 40 odd experiences where it's capped at. Yeah, so this is his starting warband, and it's looking good. We're playing the surprise attack, so I have to roll to see who I start with on my warband. So my warband is led by Justin of Triberg. He's my questing knight. He's left Bretonnia on his way to Mordheim, to reclaim some more wealth to hopefully be able to fund some better luck, because he's lost a lot of his lands to an orc invasion at the moment. And he thought, well, if I go out on a quest, I'll get some pennies in and I'll buy some more troops. Well, that's his plan, and at the moment he's on his way to Mordheim, and they've just set up camp. They've gone out to just look around, hunt for some food and that, and I only actually managed to roll up for 2 chaps to stay at home. So I can set my guys up anywhere on the board, not within 8 of each other, because we're all spread out, just looking around, trying to find stuff. So here's Callan, he's my squire, he's got a bow and a sword. Everyone also comes with a dagger as standard. I'll better quickly mention that the rules we're using also, some of the things that I remember now. If you're fighting with 2 hand weapons, i.e. sword and dagger, because the dagger's free, everyone tends to fight with that. You fight with a -1 to your weapon skill, so it makes you slightly easier to hit and slightly harder to hit good troops, which we kind of like so far. The other one we're using is spears always strike first in the first round of combat, even before charges, but they are unwieldy, so you can only combine them with a shield or buckler. So basically what it did in the early days is you tend to have a chap who's got bugger all initiative, charging, running around with 2 spears, 1 in each hand, to get the 2 strikes. Not only that, you then had a strange way of the chargers. This is, I say, old the rules. The chargers always strike first, so you then have a spear that strikes first, and then ended up being initiative, and then it wasn't worth giving the spear really to anybody. So we always play it that it strikes even before charges. And finally, slings are only strength 2. It just works a slightly better way of balancing their cost. I think they're only like 3 gold crowns each to have a sling. Not everyone's got access to it. You've only got a limited list in your warband and what you can get access to. But I know there's some warbands like the Skaven or the Sisters of Sigma who will just bring out a load of henchmen with slings and stand somewhere and just hurl them at you. Being at strength 3 and 18 inches and only like 2, I might be a bit more, but I think it's like 2 crowns, gold crowns, where a bow is 10, a long bow is 15. So as you can see, the cost effectiveness of slings were ludicrous. So bringing them down to strength 2 doesn't make them quite so killy. And here is Beren. He's one of my knights errant. He's got light armor, shield, sword. And he's the one that's keeping an eye on the camp, while everyone else is just wandering around and enjoying the sunlight elsewhere. So the ogre turn up, and they all turn up within 8 inches of one edge. They all turn up together. It's randomly rolled, but yes, 4 ogres against a knight errant and a squire who's mainly trying to learn to be a bowman. Just to stay alive, really. So keeping heroes alive is really important. It helps in the exploration at the end of the game. The more you roll a dice for each of your heroes, the more you roll, the more Wydstone you find, so the more income you get. And if you roll any doubles or triples and stuff, you can find other random things as well. I'll try and keep an eye on what everyone gets, but it's a lot to try and remember, write down and stuff. So we'll see how it goes. But I will try and keep you informed on what I find, if I find anything. So without any allies, I'm going to come until the second turn, and my opponent gets first turn as well, and with a movement of 6, these guys will be running 12 at me as fast as they can. I think Callan, my squire, he's going to run for the building and try and take that nice little high point up there and just shoot at whatever turns up. While my knight, it's just no good outrunning them. I have, 4-inch move, run 8, they're going to catch me whatever happens, so he's just going to try and slow them down. So the ogres move up, and in their first turn, right up to the edge. Callan, my squire, runs towards the building, while Beren, my knight, he decides, yep, he'll have a go. Try to take on one of the Youngbloods. You never know, this game has critical hits. Basically, if you roll a 6 to wound, you then roll on another table to see what kind of wound damage you do. At the moment, we're just using the basic critical hit table. There is another one where, depending on the weapon you have, you've got different types of critical hits, but for now it's the basic one. So a 1 to 2 will do 2 wounds, a 3 to 4 will do 2 wounds and no armor saves, and a 5-6 does 2 wounds, no armor saves, and you get +2 to the injury roll. Actually, removing all the wounds off someone doesn't necessarily kill them in this. You then have to roll on an injury roll to see how bad you've damaged them. On a 1 to 2, they're just knocked down, in which case they are face up. On a 2 to 3, they are stunned, in which case they are face down. And on a 5 to 6, you take them outright. People who are knocked down and stunned are obviously easier to hit later on, and you can try and gang up on them and finish them off with like a coup de grace. So I ran in and yeah, don't do anything. I passed my fear test, go for it, as all knights should do, and yeah, he's a knight errant, he thought he could take him on. Also, by the way, my guys have also got helmets, so do all the ogres as well. Basically, a helmet gives you a 4+ save of being knocked down, just making you less likely to be easily killed. So in the ogre turn, 3 of the boys mount up to beat the hell out of him, and the other young bloke just stares on and cheers. And yeah, basically what happens is one of the chaps comes in and knocks me down, and because I was on the floor, I think I was stunned because they're using ogre clubs, which means I'm more likely to be stunned. I failed my helmet save, and then the young blood, I believe, have finished me off. The thing with ogres, because they are quite powerful anyway, they're also lovely and stupid. So basically, they take 2 experience points for every one everyone else gets. So they need to accrue twice as much experience points to be able to go up a level. So Dristan has heard the commotion and is on his way back. This chap has got heavy armor, shield, a sword, and a helmet. With the combination of heavy armor and a shield, it also means my movement is reduced by 1. So this guy's got a movement of 3. So he's as fast as a dwarf, but he's pretty tanky if things go well. So the ogres start to spread out now. The couple heading towards Kalan, who's trying to get up the ladder there to have some shots on. And the other 2 think about going for the questing knight. And thankfully, in my turn, the rest of my guys come up. So what you see on the far side is 2 bowmen. They are my henchmen, the ones that are shooting. One of those will magically vanish later on, as I realise I've actually only got one bowman in my force. In between them there is a squire with a bow and sword. And then down at the bottom here, at the very bottom, there is a spearman. That was Rallas. He has a spear, shield, helmet. Yeah, it doesn't have light armour. And then above Dristan is Meriadoc, who is my other knight errant, who has light armour, shield, helmet, and a sword. So I try some pot shots here from Kalan, and of course with him only having a skill of 2, so hitting on 5 basic, then obviously moving and range will get negative modifiers and cover. The one thing to note in Mordheim is there is a no 7+ to hit, so if anything requires 7+ to hit, it's simply too difficult to do, thus you can't get a hit with it. So in this case I'm mostly trying to hit with 6s with these squires. And this is how we're looking. And after the ogre's turn, oh man, the speed on these guys, it's just so brutal. I honestly don't know what to do. I'm suffering. I've got to beat their fear. They've got multiple attacks, multiple wounds. I've got nowhere to hide. It's just going to be stand, hold your ground for as long as you can, and then run at the first opportunity. By the way, there is the Blessing of the Lady of the Lake in this. Basically, before the game, I take a leadership check. If it's passed, then all black powder weapons that want to shoot at any of my knights, which would be Knights Errant and Questing Knight, will need a 4-up to be able to shoot. Oh no, I think that's everybody. Sorry, I think the black powder's everybody, and then for any shooting, it's on a 4-up against the knights. So even if you've got bowmen, you need a 4-up first before you can even shoot the knights. So it's a little something, and I did have it for this game, but obviously, as you can see, it's not much of an advantage with these ogres, who are rapidly approaching me and my remaining chaps. So in the meantime, I have been shooting at these guys and actually managed to do nothing. I don't think I've done a ruddy wound yet. Yeah, so into the combat we go. Poor Meriadoc ends up taking on 2 ogres. My Questing Knight takes on champion, which is how it should be. I mean, this is honourable, right? Man versus ogre. Let's see how long these guys last. So the double team managed to take out poor old Meriadoc. Yeah, he didn't last too long. The champion, though, fighting against my Question Knight Tristan, they actually held off and held him to ground. While amazingly, my Youngblood facing his, is that young? No, it's his beast. No, it's not. It's his Youngblood. So there's a Youngblood versus Youngblood, but my human one is holding off against the ogre one. I'm passing my fear checks thanks to Tristan being my leader, and showing out his leadership of 8 to friendly models within 8 inches. So yeah, I was quite impressed with my young squire there. In my turn, I thought I'd try and pick on the Youngblood and try and do a double whammy as well, and threw in my Bowman and Squire. My other Bowman now miraculously vanishes when I realise I shouldn't have him. But he hadn't done anything, so it was all cool. There was no problem. So only my Bowman made it in, thanks to him being within 6 of my leader. Unfortunately, my Squire, who's only leadership 6, didn't fancy charging the ogre. And to be honest, I'm probably a bit grateful for that, because he's a hero, and if I want some money, I'm going to need some heroes to survive this fight. My guys actually still hold up for my round of combats. I think I actually got a wound through with my Bowman, of all bloody people, because he's only carrying a dagger with him. Daggers in this are basically fight at normal strength, but your opponent gets an armor save to represent, its lack of penetrating power. So the daggers aren't that great, but just to get they're free and everyone carries them. So I'm jabbing away at the dagger there and managed to get a wound on the Youngblood, and that's all I can do. But I do manage to stand up for another round of hits from the ogres. So in the ogre's final turn, this is how it looks. My Squire went down. They double teamed up. The hunter came in and teamed up against the Bowman, killed him off, and both our heroes went 1 for 1 as Tristan honourably fought my opponent's chieftain 1-on-1 throughout this. I'd like to know, I didn't cheat at all, and failed to do any damage there. And with that, I was on to my route test, and I thought, yeah, better Scarpa before I get beat up now, because there's just not a chance. With my Squire down at the bottom, he's only knocked out. He'll scramble away and survive. So after the battle, we then roll for injuries and income. So we then looked at the injuries for these, and yes, you can see a lot of dice there, which probably is not a good omen. So we'll start on the right hand side with my Bowman. Henchmen are pretty easy to roll for. On a 1 or 2 they're dead, on a 3 up they're okay. I rolled a 1, so I lost my Longbowmen, and they're quite expensive. Anyway, on to Baron. He came away with a 26, which I think was a -1 toughness, which is not great. That's a toughness 2 knight. Yeah, could have done better, I suppose. And then on to poor old Meriadoc, who unfortunately suffered a 16, which is multiple injuries. That is, you roll d6 times again on the injury table. But luckily, I did roll 3 full recoveries, but in between that, there was also a -1 to his weapon skill, and a -1 to his initiative, I believe. So yeah, he's not looking too good. Not a great start. Money-wise, I think I got about 70 crowns. I found an overturned cart, which had something in it. I think it was just like a purse or something. It was like 2d6 gold. I think I ended up with about 70 odd gold crowns at the end of this, and basically brought back my Longbowman for my next game, and well, permanently, but for my next game I'll have my Longbowman back, and then just store some pennies, because if it stays like this, I am going to need some money in the next few rounds to buy replacements. I was hoping to save up and get a horse or something, but I'm a long way off that, and these guys are going to struggle. But it was a good game. It was going to be a challenge wherever it happened. The surprise attack wasn't rolled for. It's something I wanted to do anyway for the first game. For Mordheim Warband against ogres, it was pretty harsh. But I wanted, Tristan to be on the road to Mordheim. In fact, in some of the shots, I believe you'll see Mordheim in the background on another table that we're also playing on. So, yeah. Onwards and upwards, and we'll see how the Men of Triberg do in the next one. So I'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for watching. Farewell.